Hi guys, it's DeckKitten here, and today I'm going to be showing you my 3x Shadow Showdown Structure deck profile. So I've built this deck using only cards which I've got from purchasing 3 copies of the Shadow Showdown Structure deck. So let's get into the deck profile. So first of all, I have 3 copies of Reshadow Wendy. Just let me focus my camera in. Right. There. So, this card is a flip monster, as most of Shadows are. And its flip effect is to special a Shadow monster from your deck in face up or face down defense position, except Reshadow Wendy. And if it's sent to the grave by a card effect, you can special a Shadow from your deck in face down defense position, except Reshadow Wendy. And you can only use one of its effects per turn. So I play 3 copies of this because it's really useful. Special summoning from the deck because it's deck thinning, and also you get access to every single monster in your deck. Next, 3 copies of Nail Shadow Ariel. So, this one's flip effect is to target a banished Shadow monster, special in face-up defense position. Sorry, one of your banished shadows. If it's sent to the grave by a card effect, you can target up to 3 cards in the graveyards, and you can banish them. So, this card's good because you often get your cards banished by opponents' cards effects when they don't want to destroy your card, and also Allure of Darkness, which I'm playing, could banish some of your cards, and also this card synergizes with itself to bring back the cards that you have banished with its earlier effect. Next up, we're playing 2 copies of all of the main Shadow monsters, apart from the Shadow, Shadow Hound, because I don't think it looks that good. So 2 copies of Shadow Squamata. Flip, target a monster on the field destroyed. And if it's sent from deck to the grave, you can send a Shadow from deck to grave. This is good for deck thinning, because if you want to send Reshadow Wendy, you can send Squamata and then use Squamata's effect to send Wendy for deck thinning. Shadow Beast, flip, draw 2, discard 1, send to grave, draw 1. Shadow Dragon, flip, bounce your opponent's card, send to grave, add a spell or trap, destroy a spell or trap on the field. Hedgehog, flip, add a shadow spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and if it's sent to the grave, you can add a shadow monster from your deck to your hand, except it. Shadow Falco, flip, you can target a shadow in your grave, special summon it in face down defense position. If it's sent to the grave by a card effect, you can special summon it in face down defense position. And all of these effects are hard ones per turn, you can only use one of them per turn. 3 Mathematician, good starting your combos. You can use it to send a level 4 or lower monster from your deck to grave when it's normal summoned, so you probably send Squamata and then send whichever one you want to send to start your combos. And when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, you draw a card. That doesn't come off often. 2 Performage Trick Clown. When it's sent to the grave, you can target a Performage monster in your grave special, but its attack or defense becomes 0, then you take 1000 damage. So this card is good. I'm playing 2 copies of it because 3 you'll get it in your hand too often and you don't want it in your hand, but 2 is good so you can summon it on the field and then you can get another one in your graveyard and banish it for purposes or fusion summoning. And 1 Armageddon Knight, same pair as the Mathematician. Right, that's all our monsters. Now let's move on to the spells. 3 copies of Shadow Fusion. This card's probably one of the best cards in the deck. If you're going second, it's really useful because you can also use monsters in your deck and you get all the shadow effects when they're sent to the graveyard. And other than that, it's just a polymerization for shadows. But yeah, really good card. El Shadow Fusion, another polymerization just for shadows, but it's a quick play spell, which is really useful because you can use it either to OTK in your battle phase. After you've attacked with everything, you can use it to fusion summon a new monster and then attack with that, or to disrupt your opponent's plays. 3 copies of Super Polymerization. We can play 3 copies because all of the shadow monsters need a monster of different attribute. So your opponent's definitely going to be playing monsters with an attribute. I mean, unless they're playing Winged Dragon of Ra or something, but they don't play that. So you'll be able to use their monsters easily when you're super polymerizing. So you'll always have a super poly target unless you're going first. And even then, you'll just have a non-negatable polymerization. 3 copies of Allure of Darkness lets you draw into your combo pieces, and also you can banish cards and then maybe trigger the effect of Nail Shadow Ariel. 2 copies of Nef Shadow Fusion. This is an equip spell. You equip it to a shadow monster and it becomes an attribute that you declare. I think this card's pretty good because you often run out of fusion cards, because all of them are hard once per turn. So it's just good having an extra one, even if it's not as good as ones like Shadow Fusion. And 1 Foolish Burial to send your shadows from deck to grave. And for the traps, 3 Resh Shadow Incarnation. This card's really good. It lets you target a shadow monster in your grave to special summon it in face up or face down defense position, and you can banish it and 1 shadow card from your grave, then activate one of the effects. Change 1 face down monster you control to face up defense position, and change 1 face up monster you control to 1 face down to defense position. And you can only use 1 of its effects per turn. I think this is good, and I'm playing 3 because you want to draw 1 in your hand, so you can set it and special summon your shadows in your opponent's turn to disrupt their strategy. Maybe even perform a fusion summon with El Shadow Fusion. But also you can activate its effect on your turn to flip your shadows and get all their good flip effects. So that's why I'm playing 3 copies of this. Most people will probably just play 2. Into the extra deck, we have 3 copies of El Shadow Construct. This is probably the best extra deck monster. So a shadow and a light must first be fusion summoned. All of the shadows must. If it's special summoned, you can send a shadow from deck to grave, which is useful. At the start of the damage step, if it battles a special summoned monster, you destroy that monster, which is really good. And if it's sent to the grave, you can target a shadow spell or trap in your grave, add it to your hand. So this card's good because you can use it to remove your opponent's pesky monsters, lets you send when you fusion summon it, and it requires light monsters, which are pretty common. And also, you get to bring back all the shadow spell and traps from your grave. 2 copies of El Shadow Apokaloni. So that requires 2 shadow monsters with different attributes. Most of them have different attributes. You can use your construct and something. And this must be fusion summon. It can't be destroyed by battle, and you can use once per turn. You can either, if it's special summon, target a face-up card in the field, negate its effect, which is very useful. Or if it's sent to the grave, you can add a shadow card from your deck to your graveyard to your hand, then discard a card. So you can use each of these effects once per turn. So that's really useful because you get a negate and then also a search in the same card using just 2 monsters is really good, and that's why I included 2 in my deck. El Shadow Winder, so a shadow plus a dark. You have to fusion summon it. It can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects, which is good. Each player can only special summon monsters once per turn. Now this is really good. You're probably going to want to summon it with A, Super Poly, or B, El Shadow Fusion at the start of your opponent's turn, so they can't do anything when they try to fusion summon their monsters. Or you could let them special summon their first monster, and if it's a dark monster, you could use that with Super Poly. So that's why I think this is a good card. And then also, when the main ones are destroyed, you can target a shadow spell or trap in your grave at your hand. 2 copies of El Shadow Grista. So this is shadow plus fire. When your opponent will special a monster while you have a shadow card in your hand, it's a quick effect. You can negate the summon. If you do, destroy that monster, then you send a shadow from your hand to the grave. So this is good because it stops your opponent from summoning some of their peskier monsters. That's once per turn, and then it has the bring back from the grave effect. El Shadow Shekinaga. So, this one requires a shadow on Earth, and when a special summon monster activates its effect while you have a shadow card in your hand, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that monster and send the shadow card from your hand to your grave. So, the same as this, except this negates effects while that negates the summon. So, they're both very situational. 1 El Shadow Annihilatus, so this requires a shadow on water. Neither player can special summon monsters from their hand or grave using spell or trap effects. And El Shadow Wendigo, this requires a wind. Quick effect, you can target a monster you control this turn. It can't be destroyed by battle with an opponent's special summon monster. That's once per turn. It's not that useful, but we are playing it because it's wind, and maybe your opponent could be playing Raid Raptors or something else, which is wind. And then 2 Shadow Construct, so 2 flip monsters, sideways pointing arrows. During the main phase, you can fusion summon a shadow fusion monster from your extra deck using monster from your hand or field as fusion material. If it's in your grave, you can send a shadow card from your hand or face up field to the grave, and if you do special summon that card, you can only use each effect once per turn. So this card's good because you can use its effect to fusion summon your monster, and then you can say you fusion summon something like El Shadow Construct and your extra monster zone, and then you can bring this back, and then you can play 2 more fusion monsters there. So that's why I think that card's good. And that is our extra deck. And now I'm just going to talk to you about the side deck. So side deck, 3 Lava Golem, 3 Twin Twisters, 3 Shadow Core, 3 Unending Nightmare, and 3 Lost Wind. These are the best side deck cards I think that were included in the structure decks. And then I'm just going to talk to you about Cross Sheep. So, you may have noticed that there's no Link Monster with downwards pointing arrows in the structure deck. So that's why I recommend investing in 2 copies of Cross Sheep, or if you can't afford the 2 copies, just invest in 1. This card is a Link Monster, 2 monsters with different names, and it has downwards left and downwards right pointing arrows, which is useful. And if a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, you can apply the following effects. That's hard once per turn, but basically for fusions, which is what you're going to be special summoning with Shadows, you get to special level 4 or lower monster from your grave. Now, because you're playing Shadows, you're going to have monsters loaded up in your grave, so it should be really easy effect, and that's why I think you should include this card in your extra deck for Shadows. You could maybe get rid of the El Shadow Wendigo, or if you want to keep it, get rid of an El Shadow Apocoloni, and then an El Shadow Shinikaga, or an El Shadow Grista. But yep. Thank you for watching this deck profile. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.